All right, so this chapter is covering chapter 7, iterations. Um, so I'm going to run through the reading quickly because I think the best way to learn iterations is through examples. So I've got a lot of different just quick little examples that you guys can work on. I've got the answers for everything, and then I've got some programming projects that I think uh, these ones aren't bad. You guys can do these, but I've got ones that I think are, instead of just running like basic math calculations, you're going to be able to see how to use iterations and loops, and how they're really used in programming. So, I'm not going to go through reassigning stuff. I mean, A equals 5, B is now equal to A, which was 5. And so if I make A 3, um, B is 5 and A is 3. That kind of stuff isn't really. All right, so this is what your incrementer looks like. So at the end of your while loop, you'll always have some sort of incrementer or decrementer, and you're usually going up by 1 or subtracting 1 depending on what you want to do. I'll show you a bunch of examples of that in a minute. You got the while loop. So right here you've got a function where n is passed into it. So let's say n is 10. Is 10 greater than 0? So it will print 10. Then subtract 1 from 10, so n will become 9. 9 is greater than 0, so then it will print 9. So basically it's going to print 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This becomes 0 now. And instead of printing 0, it prints blast off. So an infinite loop would be a loop that just runs forever. So if you did not, let's say you put a plus here, now n would be getting larger. So if you passed in 10, 10 is greater than 0, so it's going to print 10. And if you made the mistake of doing plus 1, n would now be 11. 11 is greater than 0, so we'd print 11. Now this becomes 12. 12 is greater than 0. And so this would go on forever, and it wouldn't stop, and it would slow down your computer, and it might kind of stop all the processes because it's going to use up all the your processing power. So a break keyword breaks you out of your loop. I don't like this example either, but let's say you wanted to process like a million, you had a database with a million customers, right? And you wanted to be able to find the first customer that did something that you wanted it to do or had the data that you wanted to. Once you find it, what you wouldn't want to keep running through the rest of your data and chewing up all your processing power. You would just want to break out of it because you found what you were looking for and now you're done. Okay, so that's the purpose of a break keyword. We've already done stuff with like math and POW and square roots. I mean, you guys can plug all this stuff in. So loops are basically built to run something over and over and over again. And so you use algorithms in loops to accomplish whatever that is. So in the 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 blast off, well, there's not really an algorithm in that. So, but it is, doing a couple different things each time it loops through. I've got better examples. You can read about debugging. So I guess the best way, I'm going to throw these up here. I've got 2 loops worksheets, and I'm not going to go through all of them, but it couldn't hurt to go through a couple of these with you, because I've got 3 worksheets and 1 like just kind of programming sheet. So. And like I said, I've got the answers at the back of these, so ideally, you know, I think you learn this better by actually doing it. So I would print these out and try them and see how well you do. That might be the best way to learn this. So, and here, let me show you. I've got the answers to these, but let me show you how these work so that you guys can go out and get the proper answers. So I'm going to open up my sketch screen. So right here we have count is set to 0. Count is less than 3. So the initial value of count I put down as 0. And then what we do count equals count plus 1. So count right here is 0, right? So that's 0. 0 plus 1 is count becomes 1. Okay. And then it prints 1 to the screen. Okay. Comes back up. 1 is less than 3, so now count is 1 plus 1 is now 2. So it prints 2 to the screen, 2 right here. And then it comes back up. 2 is less than 3, so now count is 2. Here. Count is now 2. 2 plus 1 is 3. So it's going to print 3 to the screen. Okay, so 0, 1, 2, and then 3. 3 is not less than 3, so the final value for 3 or for count is 3. All right. So sorry that again it's hard to write on these screens, but 0, 1, 2, 3, and the output is 1, 2, 3. It prints 1, 2, 3 because it does the count first. Now, most of the time you will not see a loop like this because your incrementer is going before your statements, what you're doing. Most of the time you'll see it like this, where you've got your statements or you're doing something in here, and then when you're finished, you've got your incrementer that adds everything up. Okay, so let me clear all, and we can do the next one. Actually, I gotta scroll down. Okay, for this one, count is 0. 0 is less than 3, so it prints 0, and it adds 1. So 0 plus 1 is now 1. 1 is less than 3, so it prints 1. 1 plus 1 is 2, and 2 is less than 3, so it prints 2. Prints 2, and then 2 plus 1 is 3. 3 is less than 3. Nope, that's not true. So you're done. The final value of count is 3, but remember from the one above, the output was 1, 2, 3 because count was before this. So you got to be careful of that, mindful of that. Okay, so you guys can work on this one. I went through a couple. There's another one that looks at, I put up here, that looks at strings. So I don't know which one you want to do, but again, I mean, I have all the answers to all these, so let's just look at a couple of them. Because ideally, once you guys learn how to do it, you should be able to do it on your own. So loop count is 5, so I put 5 down. Prints high. Let's see here. Is 5 less than or equal to 3? That's not true. So it does not do this in here, okay? It does not get into your while loop. Now, one thing I've kind of glanced over, notice there's a semicolon that starts your loop, and everything inside the loop is tabbed over one space. So this print belongs to this while loop, whereas this does not, okay? So loop count is 5. 5 plus 1 loop count is now 6, and it prints by. Okay, so it prints hi bye. All right. No, we only got 5 of them. I'll let you guys do the rest of these because I'd rather work on. Let's see here. Let's go to the loops with tables. This is also very nice here. Okay, so one thing you should do when you get to stuff like this, I can't do any of this in my head, and I don't expect any of you to either. And I always tell the high school students, write the work out and you'll be able to figure it out, because it's basically elementary math, but if you don't write it out, it's actually really difficult. So you've got X here, you've got Y here, okay? And so X is 10, Y is 20, and this is your first iteration, okay? Then you got while Y is less than 100, then you do X equals X plus Y, and you got Y equals Y plus 20, okay? So is 20 less than 100? That's true. So you've got 10 plus 20 equals 30. Okay, so X is now 30. And then you've got 20 plus 20 equals 40. So Y is 40. Okay, and then this is the start of the second loop. So is 40 less than 100? So 40 less than 100. That's true. So then you've got 30 plus 40 equals 70. And then you've got 20, or sorry, this is 40 plus 20 equals 60. So you've got 70 here, 60 here, and this is your third loop. 60 is less than 100. You got 70 plus 60, and that equals 130. And then you've got, what, 60 plus 20 equals 80. So what do you have here? You've got 130 and 80. You've got 80 is less than 100. And so 130 plus 80 equals 210. And this is 80 plus 20, and that equals 100. So you've got the fifth loop, 210 and 100. Now is 100 less than 100? That's not true, so it actually doesn't get into this fifth iteration. It ends there because 100 is not less than 100. So then it's done, and the question was, determine the value of X after the following code segment. Well, the following, so 210, okay? And so that's how you'd want to write these tables out. Now, if I were you, again, I would print this out, and I would run these in here and see if you can work through them properly, okay? Because you're not gonna, you're not gonna write this right off the bat. The best way to learn this is reading the code and understanding how the loops work before going off and writing, some difficult programs, okay? So work on these worksheets, and then I'm just gonna demonstrate some of these programs, all right? So it says design and implement an application that prints the first few verses of the traveling song 100 Bottles of Beer on the Wall. And I'm just going to do the whole thing, all right? Use a loop so that each iteration prints one verse. Read the number of verses to print from the user. Validate the input. The following are the first two verses. 100 bottles of beer on the wall, 100 bottles of beer. If one of those bottles should happen to fall, 99 bottles of beer on the wall. 99 bottles of beer on the wall, 99 bottles of beer. Okay, so you guys get the idea. So first thing you want to do when you're worrying about a loop is you got to figure out where you want to start. In this case, you want to start at 100. And then where would you end the loop? How many times do you want this thing to run? Well, from when I remember, it ends at 0 bottles of beer on the wall. Okay, it doesn't go to -1 bottles of beer on the wall. So let's write this. Think about how this works. So I am going to just say x equals 100 while x is greater than 0. Print. We got to make sure x is a string. So that would be start off x is 100. So 100 and then bottles of beer on the wall. Uh, 100 again. Take one down, pass it around. Now we have x minus 1. You take one down, pass it around. 99 bottles of beer on the wall. All right. And so now we want to take our x value and subtract 1 from it. Okay, so let's run this and see what goes on. 100 bottles of beer on the wall, 100 bottles of beer. You take one down, pass it around. 99 bottles of beer on the wall. So you go all the way down here to 1 bottle of beer on the wall. Oops. Sorry. 1 bottle of beer on the wall, 1 bottle of beer. You take one down, pass it around. 0 bottles of beer on the wall. Okay, cool. So that's pretty easy. Alright, let's look at the next one. And again, I've got all the answers down here. Some of these are harder. For instance, if you could get 3 right, you're doing real well. These aren't very easy. And I'm not going to do them for you. You guys can watch those. I was just going to do the ones that are more like, applicable to, how. Because we can always plug and chug, but it's also important to go, okay, what are we actually using these for? So in this one, we're making just a simple slot machine in which 3 numbers between 0 and 9 are randomly selected and printed side by side. Print a statement saying all 3 of the numbers are the same or any 2 of the numbers are the same. When this happens, keep playing until the user chooses stop. Okay, so when you don't know how many times you want to play something, you usually use a sentinel value to stop. So we'll say we're going to import random. Okay, let's get that go away. We're going to say let's see here. We'll just say play equals blank. Answer 1 equals 0. Answer 2 equals 0. Answer 3 equals 0. Okay. And we'll say play, and we'll input enter play to play the simple slot machine. Okay, so while play is equal to play. Now this would make sure they have to enter play. If they don't, you can't get in your while loop. It will just end. Okay, we could force them to enter play or stop, but I'm just gonna do this for now. So answer 1 is going to equal, so if they play, we want to get random values. Dot random rand int 0 through 10, and we can Control C. And this is really, I mean, when you're playing a slot machine, you know, it's popping up with cherries or whatever, but the way that, you know, digitally it would have to work is that, you know, your answer is going to be a number behind the scenes. Your computer doesn't understand what a cherry or a orange or whatever is. So once you get your answers, if answer 1 equals answer 2 and answer 2 equals answer 3. So 1 is 2 and 2 is 3. If those are all equal, then you can print, you know, str answer 1. And notice this whole thing is a string, so my answers have to be cast as strings. We'll do an elif answer 1 equals answer 2, or answer 1 equals answer 3, or answer 2 equals answer 3. I'll do the same thing. Copy, paste. Change this up and say you got 2 of the 3 the same. Else you lose. And then to play it again, you do input, enter play to play the simple slot machine again, or stop to quit. Okay. Now, if you wanted to make this more difficult, you know, this would be like if they got 3 in a row, then they win. You know, you start entering in, like, how much money do you want to play with? How much money you could do it, like you could put $50 in the machine. How much is each bet worth? You know, if you win 3 in a row, maybe you win 50 times whatever you bet. If you got 2 in a row, you get 25 times or 10 times or whatever, or else you lose. So there's ways to make this much more complicated. So let's see if I got this right. Nope, got an error there. So equals checks for equality, where 1 equals is setting a value equal to something. Yep. There. And there. Okay. And if I put, stop, I don't get to play, but let's so play. 173, you lose. Enter play again. Play. Oh, I lose again. Play. Now let me rerun this thing. Oh, quit because I need an uppercase play. So play. 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 Can I ever win? Play. So I won. You got 2 of the 3 the same. So, you guys can do that one. I'd say plug these in and see how they work. And then maybe try doing them on your own. Again, these videos and these worksheets are above and beyond the course. So you don't have to do them, but if you're struggling on this stuff and you don't know how to do the class projects, I'd suggest doing these, because this is the kind of stuff that takes place of having to be in course and watching me lecture. Because in my programming classes, I would lecture this and show you guys this on the board, and you guys would enter this on your computers or laptops. So you should be doing this, and I definitely think it's helpful, because loops and iterations is not something that you're going to get instantly. They're actually pretty difficult. So this is kind of the fun one, the rock, paper, scissors, and you can see what I did with this one. So anyway, I'm going to end this video.